Welcome back to another episode of Let's Have Breakfast. I'm coming to y'all with one of my favorite episodes I've recorded so far. I had the pleasure of hosting my friend Liana Dominique, and baby, we got into it. So I'm very excited to be bringing her to the podcast and having this conversation. I met Liana a little over a year ago, and we have been mutuals online ever since. And she's just amazing. I love her so much, and I'm really excited for you all to hear this interview. You're going to learn tons about her, but without further ado, let's introduce her to the podcast. Liana Dominique is a Haitian American woman born and raised in New York. By day, she works in tech sales, but when she clocks out, she is a part-time content creator with over 19,000 followers across social media platforms. Focuses on lifestyle, makeup, and dating content. Liana also has a podcast with her friend called Taboo, talking about being ourselves openly, where they focus on creating a safe space for women like herself to feel seen, heard, and comforted in every way possible about speaking topics that she never could growing up. Outside of all of this, because it's a lot, she's a mental health advocate, a foodie, and a serial rodder. Without further ado, let us welcome Liana to the podcast. Well, I'm so excited to have you on the episode today.
Thank
We
you.
are friends IRL, but really became friends online. So excited to have this virtual space with you and just
Absolutely.
catch up. What have you been up to? What's your life looking like, girl?
Girl, I just started a new job. So now I moved from nonprofit I'm back in corporate now. And yeah, it's just been, transparently, it's just been navigating going from an 8-person team of majority Black people to a
Mhm.
1,300 to 1,500 person team
Oh my
of,
gosh.
of now majority white people. And that's
Mhm.
something that I knew was going to happen. It was actually in like my pros and cons list as I was trying to like figure things out when I was going over to it. But it's been really nice. Like there's so many perks there. It's so amazing to be back in corporate with so much structure. Like nonprofit is a great impactful space. But mentally, mate, I was drowning a little bit. So it's nice to be on the top again. It's just nice to be there and just be back in my element, have some structure. I'm hybrid girl now. I get to go in the office. Like I don't know. I'm feeling like this may be like a good move for me.
I know I've been seeing you go into the office and like all the perks of the office where you're like, all right, free food
Yeah.
today. Here's this. Yep. I'm
Yes.
I'm experiencing that too because like I've been a remote girly and now I'm going into the office. So I'm taking my snacks. I'm getting
Right.
everything. Every day they
Right.
alert us and they're like, we have leftovers downstairs. All right, I'm there. You don't have to tell me
Yeah.
anything. I'm pretty sure I've gained at least 5 pounds going into the office.
No, and the girlies warned me. They were like, "Hey, just like like these tech companies, they're going to fatten you up." And I'm like, "No, I'm walking around, like I'm moving my body. No, I'm not. I'm eating. I'm
Mm-mm.
eating, and I'm stuffing my face, and then I'm walking to the train and going home."
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
can't
No.
believe it.
And you have a podcast of your own too. Please tell me a little bit about that because that's actually
Yeah.
a fun fact for everyone listening. That is how I found you. Before I found
Yes.
all the social medias, I was listening to your podcast. So,
That literally warms my heart so much because I remember when I was first thinking of the podcast, I'm like, who the hell is even gonna listen to this? Like, I'm a yapper. Like, I could do this forever. And then when you said that, I was like, what? So crazy. So I have a podcast with my best friend that I started in 2020. It's called Taboo, talking about being ourselves openly. And in a nutshell, I grew up in a Haitian American home, and it was more so Haitian than it was American. So a lot of the times I wasn't really able to talk about certain things that I really wanted to, sexual experiences or just like things from like unconditional love. I didn't really even understand what unconditional love was until I got into like, my pretty formative years. And I didn't even know what it looked like. So once I started learning all that stuff and just realizing how impactful it was to my like everyday life and just everyday thinking, I'm like, you know what? I should share with the girlies and I should share with the people who are also going through the same thing. So my best friend, who's now actually studying to become a therapist, she's so insightful, she's so articulate. And I was like, I need you to come on the show and be the educational, but also like the friend you are to me, to everyone else, because she's so non-judgmental, like super easygoing. Like she just really hears you and makes people feel seen. So I'm just like, girl, come on the show. And we're just like yin and yang on that freaking podcast. Like it's so fun. This is honestly reminded me, I've been on this is another podcast. I think this is my third one this year. And I'm like, God, if you want me to bring back my
mhm.
podcast, I think I hear you, Nate. Like I hear you loud and clear. Like I'm gonna do it because it just feels so good to be able to like speak my mind freely again. I'm feeling like ever since I started therapy too, I'm now in this space where like I'm ready to share. I'm ready to share in the capacity that I want to and like not go back and like have anything that I regret. So yeah, the podcast is amazing. I love it so much. And if you guys want to tune in, happily, please do because it's in my bio all the time.
Yes, and that's the thing that I feel like is so great about having your own podcast is it's such like an intimate community and like you never know who's on the other end that's like really receiving what you're saying and like
Yeah.
yeah, like I mean I put some research into some of the topics, but really it's coming from like personal experiences and like things my friends have told me. So it's like, I don't know, it's just something about a podcast.
It honestly, that's where you get the most, like, I think that's when you become the most creative when it's really just so aligned with you, when it's in your everyday. And people would tell me that all the time when I was coming up on TikTok too. They would just tell me, like, don't do something that's outside of your comfort zone. Like these girls who try to be like the luxury brand, but they're really not the luxury girls. Like when you start going outside of your comfort zone, like you're not putting out that true content and then you kind of burn out quickly because one, you gotta run out of money or you're just doing something that doesn't really like reside with you and really align with you. So that was the whole point of it. It was just like, I'm struggling with this. I'm gonna see if other people are struggling with this. Cause even for me, transparently growing up, like I always just felt like I didn't really have anyone to talk to. Like my sister and I, we got close later in my life, and so it was really hard growing up not having someone to talk to all the time. So I'm just like, I know I can't be the only one going through this, even though I feel so alone. I know I can be the only one going through this. So like, even you starting your podcast too, the Let's Have Breakfast, like that's such a good line too, because I love saying that to people. I'm like, oh, girl, let's have breakfast. Like, it's such a
Right.
good time to just be able to talk to people and like interview people. Damn, I'm gonna get back to it. It just showed me.
Yeah, no, we will be looking forward to that in 2024. But
I
I
can't
want to go
wait.
back to something you said about how the girls be acting like people that they're not actually in real life.
Yeah,
I've been seeing so much of that lately, and I know you probably can relate a little bit. I don't want to put words in your mouth, girl, but
yeah,
you can probably relate in the sense that it's like you've been on TikTok for a long time, you've been on, Instagram making short form videos and like really trying to figure out like how you present yourself online. Like, do
yeah.
you ever get people that kind of steal your flow? And then twofold, have you been kind of noticing now that a lot of videos are coming out about this is how I edited this or here's how to edit like this creator? Do you feel like it's starting to be oversaturated in the way people are like presenting themselves online?
Yeah, 100%. You know, I was just talking about this the other day, just like the long-term effects of TikTok and what we'll see later. And it really is just like we talk about this all the time, but it's just originality is dead. Like it's gone. And if you try to be original, I promise you there are going to be 700 people who are right behind you trying to be that same original that you are. I
Mhm.
feel like for me, I never really looked at any of the content that I was doing as, distinctive than anyone else or like super different than anybody else. When I first got started, I was doing my self care series and just being like super transparent about everything I was going through. But I think I always knew from jump, like as long as I was doing it and as long as I was doing, I had my voice in it, I knew that it couldn't be replicated. And I think that's what people
Mhm.
forget a lot of the times. It's like if you're not, you know, it's that saying with fashion. It's not on you, it's in you. It's the same thing with creating. Like, if it's not in you, then you can't put it on you and pretend to be the Monet McMichaels, the Alex Earls, because it takes work. It takes work. And it's like, if you're not passionate about it, if this is not who you truly are, your mask gonna fall very, very soon. And you're gonna start showing people who you truly are. And 9 times out of 10, you'll probably just find the community that's for you. But like, I feel like that's why I never paid attention to people like, stealing my flow or anything like that. Cause I felt like we're all doing the same thing. We're just all doing in our own different way. So that's what
Mhm.
really like I try to keep in mind when I saw. And I also found so much comfort in people coming in and saying like, oh, like I saw Liana Dom doing this like whatchamacallit. That's not even my freaking thing. Tweedledee. I always forget that's my name on TikTok. But yeah, I saw her doing this and I want to try it out too. Or like I was inspired by this person, this person. It's like cards are amazing, but to see that it really just warmed my heart so much more to see that I started something and like so many more people were now like, doing self care or like talking about certain things. That made me feel more warm than focusing on just like why the hell this girl Edmund just like me? Like, I'm trying not to
Right.
keep that on top of mind.
Well, and it's hard too because it's like everyone kind of has access to the same tools. Like, yeah,
Yes.
I got CapCut too. I got InShot. Like, we all got the same access. But
Yes.
I think what you said is really important. Like, it is who you are. Like, I think when people try and copy like the Monets of the world, it's like, why do people like her? It's because
Yeah.
she's herself. Like, you cannot be that girl. So, like, be
110%.
yourself, and people will resonate with that, and you'll build a community based on that. But I also really appreciate when people like credit you or like say like, oh, like I was inspired by this creator to do this. Like
Yeah.
it is really cool because you're like, dang, I didn't even realize like it could have that kind of impact.
110%. And I think people, when they think of credit, it's just like, well, why should I credit if everybody's doing it? It's like, because it means so much to the creator in general. Like, just to know that, like, coming online, you being your authentic self, people want to replicate that. That's a massive, like just compliment to you, to the person that you are. It just means that, like, people at your, most authentic state want to be like you. So that's just a crazy compliment. And for people to not want to do that and be like, oh, it doesn't matter. Like, it may not matter to you because you think it's all about the money, but it's not even about that. It's like a mental thing too, where it's just, you feel so much better about yourself.
Yeah, for real. And I just
100%.
realized like I know her. Y'all don't know her. So we need to get into these rapid fire questions so we can get to know you a little better.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Okay, so first things first, describe your aesthetic in 3 words.
Ooh. If I could describe my aesthetic in 3 words, I would say it'd be animated for sure, authentic. I want to say just a character. Like, I'm just a character. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I've heard my entire life. Like, people just constantly telling me like, yo, you're a character. Like, that's just the vibe I give off. So I'm gonna take that as my aesthetic. I'm gonna internalize that and just make that a part of me. And because everybody used to be like, what the hell does that mean? I look like an animated cartoon or something. But then I realized it's just like the way I present myself. So I think, yeah, animated character, which is a freaking word. And then what was that other?
Mm.
Authentic, authentic, authentic.
Authentic, because that's
Period.
real. You real authentic, and you also have like a magnetic energy about you. Like
Oh,
I
thank
will say,
you.
because like you're the first creator that I've met in real life for real, and I was
Yeah,
like, what is this gonna be like? Like what? Like how is this gonna
yeah,
be? And right
yeah.
off bat, it's like you act the exact same online that you do in person, and I can appreciate that.
Thank you so much. And were the exact same. And I had told you when we met up, I was just like, I'm so scared to meet creators because it's like that
Yeah.
disconnect. It's that same situation, that the same conversation we just had. It's like sometimes it doesn't transfer over. It's like you're putting on this show online, but I get it because it's like, you're in the comfort of your home. This is where you can be your utmost self. But
Hmm.
damn, girl, people are going to expect that version of you when you go outside. Like, you can't be this stush. Like, and sometimes they're not even stush. It's just awkward. Like, it's just the social skills are not there. And it's like, babe, you need to start going outside, like the NPCs in the middle of Manhattan, and you need to immerse yourself into this culture because something is wrong there. Have you experienced, like, I don't want to make it like about bad
Yeah.
creators, but like, have you experienced like the bad creator experience of just like, bad creator meetup experience?
I haven't because Kansas
Okay.
City is not really saturated, which is what I'm trying to do with my friend with the socialite circle. Like we're really trying to bring opportunities to creators in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Because like we're often it's so crazy because y'all will have Taylor Swift on the TV and like talk about
Girl.
Kansas City, we'll get the World Cup, all these things, but it's like okay, where's a brand event? Like what's
Yeah.
happening with that? We have these like there even was an example this summer like Whataburger like had this big like kickoff event and it's like people were invited but you don't see any of us and you don't see
Yeah.
any of the people that like really are creating content in the community. So
Yeah.
why are we not being invited? So that was kind of the root of being invited like creating that group to begin with. But I think as I continue to grow, I'm sure I will experience some of the
Yeah, well, I pray you
unpleasantries.
don't. Yeah, I pray you don't. But that's so real about just like, that's why I'm super grateful of just like being a creator in a bigger city. It's like it
Hmm.
has its pros and cons though, for sure. Because when you're in like Kansas City, Missouri, like at that point, there's not that many. So when you do you and you do it amazingly, you're gonna get so many more eyes on you because everyone's gonna be like, oh well, we don't have a lot of creators in this area. Whereas for me, it's like you got to work 10 times harder because all eyes are on New York City. Everybody thinks you're supposed to, live this certain way of New York City life. And so when they see me, it's like, okay, girl, I'm from suburbia. Like, hold on. I'm not, I'm not the New York City, the churches and the boroughs. Like, I'm from Long
Hmm.
Island. So it definitely is. Yeah, it has its pros and cons. I'm going to be grateful for what I got. But sometimes I do wish I was in a smaller city because I feel like I just get more eyes on me at certain points.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's real. I mean, like just in general, it's a saturated market. Like I was telling
Yeah.
you before we started this call for real that like for influencer marketing within my job, it's like I'm
Yeah.
constantly looking at creators every day and like a lot of times people think that brands are like, oh no, we just don't want to pay creators. But a lot of times they really do have a budget and they can't pay you more than that.
100%. this is the problem with these people who do not go outside and touch grass. It's also, if you want $40,000, you need to provide Monet McMichael or like Alex Earl work. You know what I mean? Like Alex Earl,
Mhm.
her work is not crazy, and I'm always gonna reference them because these are two girls that we saw get it out the mud,
Mhm.
so to say. You know what I mean? So it's like when you see these people, Monet's editing skills, the way she grabs her audience attention, like even if she doesn't have high engagement, which she always does, but like even if she doesn't have high engagement, you
Mhm.
know her stuff is gonna be quality. With Alex, her engagement is gonna be through the roof. This girl could sit down and drink water and be like, people be like, where'd you get the water from? You know what I mean? Like they always want to know what she's doing. So people like that, when you hear them making $40,000, $20,000, my friend's company was just working with Monet McMichael. Her shit was like $30,000 for one video. Paid it immediately because it's like it's Monet McMichael. But I feel like what's happening is that everybody, because it's an oversaturated market, because everybody feels like I should, they have this thing on TikTok where it's like, be paid your worth, paid your worth. Be real about
Mhm.
your worth too, though. I know I'm not gonna, at my 15K with, like 28% engagement, I'm not going to have $40,000, like a $40,000 deal lined up. And I'm not gonna be upset about that. I'm not gonna even pose
Mhm.
that out there because it's like, there's a higher chance of me getting a no than me even, and like ruining my chances of working with that brand
Yeah.
than actually sitting down and just being like, you know what? Okay, let me like really calculate this or try to work with them. So I completely feel you. It sounds like I'm like so bad when it comes to this, and that's why I always say I'm gonna get canceled. But it's like I'm on the brand side simply because I've also done it where like I've seen these smaller businesses try to reach out to these creators and
Mhm.
these small creators or mid-sized creators, and they're trying to like work with them and create a long-term partnership. But their whole thing is like, you need to pay me what I'm worth. Like you need to pay me what I'm worth. That means that you're not in it for the right reasons, and that just shows you
Right.
like you're here. That just separates the TikTok people who are there for the money and who are there for actually like building their rapport with these brands. Girl, I can
Mhm.
go on for an hour and a half about that shit.
Shit, you and me both.
I'm telling you. Wait, so transitioning into that, how is it like dealing with work boundaries as you're coming back into the office and like figuring out yourself?
That's actually a great question because I don't really know how to make work friends. Like
Yeah.
that's weird because it's like in college it's just like you're kind of around everybody, so you're kind of friends with everybody or at least associates with everyone. But going back into the office, like there was this guy that reached out and was like, "Hey, like let's do lunch, like let's be cool." And I'm like, "All right, cool. You work in the creative department, like that sounds great." We became
Yeah.
friends. We went to lunch. It's like, "All right, like we're both black. It's perfect because we can kind of like talk about some of, I mean, like, you go into the office, it's like when you work with a bunch of white people, it's a
Mm-hmm.
different kind of environment. Like, you have to
100%.
adapt. You don't get to show up as yourself, like, at least in all spaces.
Yeah.
And so it's like being able to kind of unleash and like talk about some of these things. But then it's like, okay, I feel like I'm getting mixed signals because why are you asking me if I got a boyfriend to carry in my groceries? What do you
Okay,
mean by
yeah.
that?
He's funny. He's funny. And I'm not gonna lie to you, you even starting off with saying like a man hit you up. As much as I love making man, you know me, I'm a big
Yeah.
advocate for male best friends. I'm a big advocate. But when it's not organic in that sense, I always, especially when it comes from work, like I always keep it at a distance.
Hmm.
Like for me, I'm always gonna be with the women rather than the men because it's just they
Yeah.
looking for that work wife. They're looking for the work wife, and that's
And
not gonna
and
be
it
me.
became real apparent after like a few chats. I was like, "Oh, this is not giving you want to be my friend, and this is also
No.
not giving I have a boyfriend." So like, why? What do you
No.
think? And then I feel like it got into a weird situation where it's like, okay, I don't know how to like. What am I just supposed to not respond now?
Yeah, because now
Like
you're
it
making me
gets
uncomfortable.
I know, and it's like weird because it's like you're not trying to make me uncomfortable. Like nothing's necessarily wrong. It's just like I don't want that kind of relationship with you, but I also don't want to say I don't want to be friends like that to you, and then you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I didn't." You're picking up something that I'm not putting down because I know
Yeah, and
I'm
this
not delusional either.
that's the thing, and that's where those boundaries come into where it's just like I don't really in those moments, like when people ask you those questions like that, you be like, I don't feel comfortable answering that. Like just saying that, like, and it's
Yeah.
uncomfortable saying it, but you got to say it in the moment because it's like I'm working on that now, where it's just like,
Hmm.
within sales, drinking is a big culture, and it's not a big culture at my company. Again, if you guys are listening, but it's not a big culture in my company. But it's kind of the bro kind of culture that's out there,
Hmm.
and I am just kind of trying to find that fine line of like, I don't want to get drunk with my coworkers. That's something that I realize I don't feel comfortable doing because then I start saying stupid shit and I regret it the next day. I get hangover anxiety and then I'm worried about what my coworkers think of me when I really shouldn't be because they're just my coworkers at the end of the day. So I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that's what I'm trying to just figure out, like where the boundary is, like where I can say like, okay, I'm not comfortable doing this. I'm comfortable doing this. Like just really listening to myself. I think it comes with the more you get to know yourself for sure, but it also comes with like just the more you speak up for yourself because it feels more normal to say like no or like I'm not comfortable with that. Like it takes. I'm still shaking in my boots every time I say it, but every time I do, I never regret it.
Yeah. No, that is real. And like even just like the transition from being remote to being in person and having those conversations with
Yeah.
my manager, it's like, dang, I've never had to be face to face with my manager saying something that's like uncomfortable for me. And it's like
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
sitting there like my body language is given I'm uncomfortable.
Literally, all closed up, scratching your thumbs, like,
Like,
like, yo, like literally, I feel that so
right.
bad. But it's hard, especially the other part of going from like remote, and I hate to make this all about work, but it's like going from remote to like in person because we're going through the same thing. Girl, people have no social skills.
They really don't.
Like it's scary. Like people have, there's some people who, this is their, I wouldn't even say their first job out of college, 'cause that's no problem. But it's like there's some people who genuinely have no social skills or have less than their social skills because of the pandemic and because of remote
Hmm.
work. So when they get into work, it's like, hey, you're making me uncomfortable. I know you don't realize it, but I'm uncomfy the way you're talking right now. Because why are you asking that? Like that's just, or like why are you like being that way? You can tell when someone's being like super curt with you or anything like that. So that's what
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to pick up too. I'm like, okay, I can see who the
Those unspoken communication skills where it's
yeah.
like, hold on. I know I'm not reading too deep.
Yeah, literally. But as long as you know, you trust your gut, you'll be fine.
Yeah, that's so real. And we gotta talk about it though, because
Yeah,
you are having a moment right now. You got a new job, you got to do a video series with Cosmopolitan, and I want to hear all about that specific video and what went behind that to
yeah,
getting you on the show.
yeah. First of all, new job is, as I said, so fun. But my creative is like life is what thrives. Like it makes me feel like I'm really thriving in life. So that Cosmo thing was just it was a all encompassing moment where when I watched it, when they sent me like the final cut and everything, my best friend and I watched it, and I'm not joking, I was just crying because I'm like, it may seem so small to other people to like be on a YouTube channel or anything, but like it's not that serious. But for me, I just felt like my inner child was just like seeing herself so proudly and just being like, I knew you could do it. Cause from a young age, I would sit in front of I would literally sit in front of my like mirror and I would tell my dad would tell me the news and I would sit in front of my mirror and I would like report back to the news. So I'm like, I'm going to be on TV one day. It was like the best thing ever. He would like tell me like what the weather's going to be. And I'm like, okay, this is Liana Dominique reporting to you live. And I'm like, I'm like, it's 38 degrees Fahrenheit, a little bit windy. Like I would say it in the mirror because my sister and I would deliver the news because we would be so excited because I'm like, I just knew it. My mom would call me like her miracle baby, and she's like, I just know this kid is gonna put me on TV one day. And so to see like just like a smaller version of that, I immediately started crying. And I was just like, I loved it. So basically, what happened was over the summer, I had a video go viral on TikTok. Where my boy best friend and I went viral. I started a whole discourse on Twitter and everything, and it was insane. And people kept asking like, just get paid, just get paid. And I'm like, no, like if you're really true to this, not true to this, this is gonna give you the exposure you need. And that's exactly what happened. I checked my DMs one day, my requested actually, and I had this amazing woman, who I'm still cool with to this day, which is so fun. But this amazing woman from Cosmo, she hit me up and she was like, hey, I saw your video, about you and your ex and whatever. I was wondering if you'd like to come on the show where your ex sets you up on a date. She was like, preferably not him, but if you have another ex, like we can make it work. And when I got the message, I'm like, yo, this is a scam. I'm like, what you talking about Hearst Media? I'm like, girl, get the hell out of here. You're scamming me. And then I look it up and it's like Hearst owns Cosmopolitan, like
Hmm.
all the thing. And I'm like, oh, she's dead ass. Like, she want to know on me on the Cosmo show. So then we go on the call and something I've been working on for the past, like, I would say at that point, like year and a half in therapy was just like coming into myself, like just being myself again, like listening to my gut, like, cause I lost my intuition a long time ago. Just listening to other people, fucking with a nigga I shouldn't, oops, excuse me, messing up.
No, you're
Okay,
good.
good. Okay, good. Fucking with a nigga I shouldn't have been, who was gaslighting me all into oblivion. So I just kind of lost my sense of self. and finding that in therapy has been super helpful. So when I got there, I was like, wow, I get to show up as my, most true self, my most authentic self. And she loved it. And she was like, I need you to find an ex. She was like, no matter what like happens, we need you on the show. And to have that type of love, I was like, yeah, girl, we in this. So I'm running through my exes. I'm running through them. I'm like, hey, everybody want to be the show? So everybody's saying no to me, and I'm getting stressed because I'm like, oh my God, why are you guys like, why wouldn't you want to claim this as an ex on national TV? Like, what's wrong with you guys? So I get this one guy, we go through the entire process. At the last second, they tell him we have to take pictures together. He says no, he doesn't want to do it anymore. I'm like, oh, go to hell. So then he drops out. I'm thinking, what the hell am I going to do? So I literally just prayed to God, and I'm like, God, if this opportunity was meant to be for me, if you wanted me to do this, then you will help me find a workaround. You'll help me, be on this show. And if I can't find another ex to do this for me, then I know I wasn't meant to do this. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm not even joking. They hit me up probably a day later and they were like, sorry, so and so didn't work out. At this point, though, we really want you on the show. Can you just find a friend? And I was like, hell yeah, I could find a friend because I got plenty, as you can see. So then I get my friend Raheem to come on the show with me. We knocked it out the park. It was so fun to film that entire day. Like, it felt like what I was meant to do. And I was so in my head that entire day. Like, I'm not joking, Jaden. Like, I literally was sitting there. Like, I just really hope I am presented well. It's the same thing as like meeting a creator in person. I was like, I hope I'm perceived well so that when people, click on my social media, they don't feel like I was acting different. They don't feel like I was acting weird or anything like that. Or like trying to be someone I'm not. So I was so in my head about it, so in my head. And then at the end of the day, one of the filming guys messaged me and he was like, you are a natural born star. Like, he was like, it was such a pleasure to work with you. Like, I'm so happy that you came on the show and we were able to work it out. Like, you're going to go really far. And that was so confirming for me. And I think once it came out and I saw myself and I was like, wait, that's who I was trying to be. Like, she's here. Like, I don't have to worry anymore. I don't have to worry that like whatever's coming out of my mouth is not me anymore. Like, it's her and I'm listening to her. And so, yeah, that was just probably one of the highlights of my career. I'm now wondering if that's going to be the peak of my career, my creative career, but I'm going to pray it's not going to be.
It's not. It's not. And like someone affirming you in a moment like that where it's already you feel so good about it, but it's like someone that is in the industry and that got to watch the behind the scenes and the making of this program and they're coming to you and they're like, you're a star, you're amazing. Like, that hits different.
I'm telling you. And it's like when you convince yourself for so long that like, things are not things, but like your life may not matter that much. Like seeing something like that is just like, wow, like no matter what, it mattered just a tiny bit. And they believe it too.
Right.
So yeah, that was a great experience. I loved it.
It's really fun to watch too. Like
Thank you.
I remember when that hit the streets, I was like, oh, we sitting down and watching this today on the TV. Like that's
100%. You're so real for that. You're so real. But I will say the aftermath of it though was that like the reason why I really got in my head because I really wanted the engagement to be high. I feel like for me as a smaller creator, I'm always just waiting for my ticket in to fame. So I'm just like, that one video is going to put me on the map or like that one thing is going to skyrocket me out there. And so, at first I thought it was going to be like my, that video that went viral, started the whole discourse. I'm like, finally my time. Like I'm waiting for the interviews. I'm waiting for everything to come in, but I wasn't credited for it. Going back to that, that's why it's also really important to credit creators. I wasn't credited for it. And so a lot of people had a hard time finding my original video. So a lot of people were speaking on it, but they weren't speaking directly to me or tagging me in any of the stuff. So I wasn't getting the recognition I needed. So I felt like I was already disappointed in that. And then the Cosmo thing, I was praying that would be my ticket. Like I was praying for 1 million views, like something just go up, especially because it was like to have Cosmopolitan magazine, something I grew up reading, back you in this and put you in front of these studios lights and put you on this. I thought this has to be it, surely. And so it is like why I say like I hope it's not that my peak, but I feel like it's my peak is because I feel like I keep getting these moments of like incredibleness during my creative journey, and then it plummets and it like sends you into like a damn, like why wasn't that it for me? Because I got a little bit of recognition, but it's just like where was that blow up? Like I'm waiting for like I want to look at my phone and next thing you know I got 1 million followers. Like I'm just like what am I missing that's not there, and like why haven't I received that yet?
Oh my gosh, you just articulated a feeling that I have once a week. Like that's
so real.
like for real. It's so real because it is like, not to be like we are just creative geniuses, but like when you
You
have
kind
this
of
creative
are.
mind, you have the execution, you have the consistency, it's like you have all the puzzle pieces, but why is it not happening for me? And like that
Yes,
goes back to kind of what I was trying to say earlier, where it comes to like, just because you have the talent doesn't mean you necessarily are going to get things as fast as other people. It's like
exactly.
you have to kind of shift the mindset, and it's like really really challenging to do, because it's like you're in this, you want the rewards for like all the hard work, for staying up late and editing a video, for
Yeah,
going to this event when you didn't have money and paying for it out of your pocket. Like
but
you want, I mean, shit, speak on it for real. Like I
I'm
can't even tell
telling
you how much
you.
money I spent.
I'm telling you, and just it drives you to overconsumption too, which is something that like is what I want to touch on when we are just talking about, having it on you instead of in you. Like when it's on you, you start overcompensating, and that leads everyone down the road to that overconsumption. And I fell
Mhm.
victim to it too, where when I first started off in TikTok, I was doing OOTDs, and I'm like the outfits of the day, and I'm like, damn, if I'm gonna do these outfits of the day, I gotta start spending money on these outfits of the day, and if I'm gonna be this like New York like event goer, like elitist type person, I have to kind of play the part. So I start spending mounds and mounds, putting myself in credit card debt, which I'm now digging myself out of just trying to keep up with the Joneses and trying to like maintain this image of materialistic like things in life. And I just have to stop myself. I probably stopped myself like halfway through last year. So this is a very recent thing, but halfway through last year, I was like, girl, you are going to run yourself into the ground trying to be someone you're not. When the reason you got here is because you were being yourself. So what is the
Mhm.
point of trying to keep doing this and keeping up with this and only hurting yourself at the end of the day? Because yeah, these people are watching it, they're having a good time watching it, but at the end of the day, they're scrolling away. They don't gotta deal with the problems that just came from that fucking video. Like I gotta now do all these returns. I'm doing all this stuff, hoping and praying they're gonna give me my damn money back. Like it definitely was. It was tough, and just coming to that conclusion, I was just like, okay, yeah, there's no reason for me to, be sitting there and spending so much money to go to an event. Like there's something in my
Mhm.
closet. Like I could take the train. I don't got to Uber there to, to not look like I took the train. Like there's so much that goes into creating that persona that you have to take a step back and just like, all right, do I even want to create a persona at this point? Or do I want to just like,
Mhm.
I gotta do stuff.
Yeah. Well, and that's so real. Like I, man, the amount of money I done spent and shouldn't have spent, and makes me
Yeah,
sick.
I'm telling you. And so when you go to these events, like what is it like? Like how is, because I know for New York, it's like, people come dressed to the nines 24/7. How is it for your events?
Yeah. I feel like that's a great question, because like even just kicking off the socialite circle, it's like we make mood boards so people don't feel like they have to go out and spend money on a new item. Like
It's
we want
real.
people to come as themselves, but also like use Rent the Runway or like do something else
Yeah.
to where you don't have to spend money every single time on new outfits. Like, or borrow things. Like I'm trying to do this thing with my friends recently where I'm like, okay, I'm cleaning out my closet. I know y'all got some stuff to give away. Let's swap some things,
Yes.
because I need new
Yes.
clothes, but I'm not trying to spend nothing.
I'm telling you, and it's so crazy to me. That's such a great concept in general because it's just so insane to me how people would rather go thrift and pay money for other people's clothes when it's like,
Mhm.
I know my best friend every second I get, I tell her, like, if you're done with that, you let me know because
Give
I'm
it to
gonna take
me.
it. Like, give it to me. And I'm not too ashamed to say, like, I will always say, like, got this from my sister's closet, got this from my
Hmm.
cousin's closet, all my designer footwear, all my designer bags. People got it for me. Like, I can say that loud and clear because it's just like, at that point, I'm not really like, what's the point of trying to hide that? And why are we so okay with thrifting versus going through our
Right.
own like inner circles thing, especially if we're the same size? Girl, move over. Like,
That's what I'm saying. I'm lucky enough to got I got people that got big feet just like me. So come
hello,
on, let's share
hello. No, yeah, my aunt just got me. I've been super blessed to have family who constantly like spoils the crap out of me. But
them.
literally, my aunt got us these like Bottega heels, and my best friend came over the other day. She put her foot in it. She's like, "Girl, I can wear these." I'm like, "Girl, and when you want to, you let me know."
I'm
Like,
screaming.
I will send them over to you because I feel like you don't get blessed with certain things and not be able to share it with everyone, whether it's a freaking shirt from Amazon or it's Bottega heels. Like either way, it's like who
Mhm.
cares? As long as the person doesn't mess it up and gives it back to you, like you're good to go.
No, for real. I'm not the one you let borrow your shoes though.
Yeah, girl. Because I will
It's
leave them in the club. I'm gonna leave them in
it's
the
not.
club.
Oh, oh.
Oh, did you see that
That's
video?
no.
that video of that girl who was going crazy because she's like, you guys need to stop taking your heels off in the club. It just signals to men that you look dirty and da 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 da. We want to be sophisticated women. She going crazy. Floyd Mayweather's girlfriend. I'm like, oh, you so brainwashed, girl. I'm gonna take off my heels any chance I get. Go to hell.
I'm screaming. I do not do that.
You don't take heels off in the club?
No.
Girl, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
See, the thing is, the way I be seeing how my shoes look after the club, I'm not willing to take them off.
Well, I'll say this. As a little bougie girl, I'm only in a section if I'm going to a club.
Fair enough.
So then I'm gonna take off my shoes. I'll probably bring some sandals.
That's real. But even like the sections here are not really not really sections. I'm thinking even like the nicest club we have, like where the players be kicking it, like it's not really like sections. Like
and that's how it's supposed to. No. But what you're saying is a good thing, babe. Sections ruin New York.
But they are sections. People pay for sections, but they're not like it's
taking up the whole club.
Yes. Like they're more so like at the DJ booth or like.
Yeah, that is how it's supposed to be. Sections in New York are you damn near out of bed in the middle of the club to lay down with you and all your homies. It's insane. It's insane. And people expect you to get up and dance. It's sections wall to wall. Like, I remember one time I walked into a club, I'm like, you can't even dance. Like, you can't, there's no gen pop anymore in New York. Like, it's literally just like, you must be in a section with your hookah, with your bottles, or you're basically like standing around watching people in a section.
And that wouldn't be fun. I would only go if there was a section.
And that's exactly why you fall victim to it. So it really depends on where you're at. But yeah, that girl she was getting mad as hell. I'm like, girl, if you want to take off your heels, take off your damn heels. Like,
shit, if I'm sitting at a couch, yeah.
Who cares? Also, like, any man, we also talk about it too. It's just like, I don't want to find a man in the club. Like, if he at a club at the same time as me, we probably not compatible. Because I'm only here because I'm trying to get my freak on. And if you trying to get your freak on too, like, I don't like that.
No, yeah, that's real. Okay, now that we're talking about nightlife and men and all of that, I need you to tell me tea on dating in New York.
Girl, I don't think I'm the person to tell you this. Because genuinely, I was just thinking to myself too, I said, I said, Liana, no more men in like the rapping industry, artist type beat. I'm done. If you hear this, everybody out there, if you make music, if you support music in any way, leave me alone. I've done it all. I've done the producer. I just started talking to a radio talk show host. I've done the singer, the rapper. Every single time. They're so cute. They're not for me. I'm a structured girl. I'm a Capricorn. I need structure in my life. I need you to be able to work a 9 to 5, get off that. And you know what? I don't care if it's like, I'm a creative as well, but I'm not that type of creative where like your schedule revolves around other people. And that's tough for me. That's really tough for me. Like, I'm working towards having my schedule only revolve around me. So when I meet guys like that, it's like, I completely support you. But no, because hell no. Producers are probably the worst. The producer ruined my life. Like, oh my God.
No.
Ruined my life. Brought out a whole disorder in me. I said, God damn. But literally, like, dating in New York is everything. I think that's the one thing TikTok actually has right. But yeah, what I was saying was dating in New York is exactly what they say like it is on TikTok. Like, that's the one thing TikTok doesn't lie about. It is just so hard to find someone that you really vibe with because one, I think the options are endless and that's really scary. But like then it feels like the options are endless when you're on the dating app and stuff like that. But then they get so much smaller when you start to realize like what you truly want. So for me, I'm not having the best time. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like after this last person I just talked to, I just kind of realized that like maybe I do need to just take some time to work on myself and figure out what I actually want because I keep ending up in relationships that like I know I'm not all the way there, but I'm getting a little bit worried that I'm not gonna find anyone if I don't finally get there. So I'm like, let me just, take what I can. And then I end up like resenting the person and it's not fair to them.
Would you say it's hard to meet people too in New York? Like, because it's like, do people just keep to themselves when they're out and about or like, what's the vibe?
That is actually the one thing I will give New York. It is not hard to meet people here. Like, especially when you're an extroverted, outgoing person, like people are going to be coming. The other day, literally yesterday, I went to urgent care. The front desk guy is like trying to get my number. I go to Target. This guy, I'm wearing a mask. this guy typed something out. Yeah, literally typed something out on his phone. It's like, hey, just wanted to see if you like maybe wanted to exchange numbers. I'm like, what the hell? I'll tell you that New York niggas are bold. They don't care. They will come up to you. Like they swear they don't come up to you. It's the baddies. It's the New York baddies that like work in tech. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
got some clout, because clout is a big thing here. Like once you got some clout, once you got, you friends with freaking Diddy's son. I mean, not anymore, but you friends with Diddy's son, or like this rapper is baby mama or something like that. Like you run with her. Like it seems like they take it and they wear it as if it's like an armor to them. And so those are the type of people who it's like a little bit more ridiculous to get them to talk to you, because at the end of the day they're usually a little lame. I'll be honest with you, and that's why they make it their whole personality to know somebody.
Mm.
But it's definitely not hard to meet people. I think it's just hard to meet quality people in New York, because a lot of the quality has now found their way into relationships, or realize that they're quality and realize that they can have 700 women or 700 men at their beck and call, and it's so much harder to tie anyone down.
Damn.
Yeah, it's tough out here, girl. I'm telling you, girl. I might be single forever. I need to stop putting out into the God. Don't listen to me when I say that. But I'm telling you, I'm like, it gets so scary because I'm now I'm 26, and I'm just like, I haven't been in a serious relationship in 5 years. And as I'm in New York, I'm just like, it seems like it's getting further and further away. Like I wanted kids I wanted kids when I like at least turned 30. Like I wanted to start having kids at 30, and it's like, I mean, not to go into the whole friends monologue, but like I would have to start like yesterday if that's the case.
Right.
So
No shit. That's
yeah,
so real.
so it's like I'm really screwed, and I'm at the point now where I really want like a healthy partnership. Like I don't really want to compromise on that, and
Mhm.
I just know that it takes two healthy people in order to do a healthy relationship. So it's like I can't rush that. I can't rush my partner to speed up his growth, or whenever I have a partner, because I am single. If you look at him, yeah. But like, I can't rush my potential partner into his healing journey, and I can't rush my healing journey, because there are things that I thought I learned and was ready to move on to, and was ready to like implement into my relationships. And then as soon as I implement one thing, something else comes out of me. And I'm like, oh, I'm still angry? Okay.
I
I
feel
thought I
like
was
that's
done
the
with that.
thing, like about growth, that I don't feel like anybody really talks about. It's like,
Yeah,
okay, yeah, you're never done growing. Like you gonna
never.
feel like you fixed something, you got something else to fix. Like
Exactly.
it's gonna happen forever.
But I think within dating too, it's like that growth is always there, but I think people are missing the acceptance part. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
when you meet someone and it's like, okay, if this person did not change at all ever again, would I still love them? And it's like that's what
Hmm.
people are not ready to really face, or even to see ask themselves, like, what do I even accept myself at my fullest? You know what I mean? Like even though I'm
Hmm.
not where I want to be, do I still accept myself? How can I accept somebody else? So that is just, they're missing that point, because everyone thinks it's like, just gotta grow, 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 gotta be my best self, gotta heal. But it's like, I'm a firm believer that a relationship brings a different side out of you. You can be single for as long as you want. I'm telling you, you know it. Like,
It
you can be
does.
single for as long as you want, and you think that you're the most put together, healed, non-jealous, non-judgmental person. You get into a relationship with the wrong motherfucker, girl, you end up in a psych ward. Like, it's like all that. I'm telling you, like, it brings out a different side of you. And that's
Hmm.
honestly, people think I'm crazy when I say that, but I'm like, I need a relationship to test me right now. Like, I feel really good in myself. I
Hmm.
feel like I've done a lot of healing so far. I need someone to come in and bring out a couple more things, because I thought I was done with the anger management, but apparently I'm not. I thought I wasn't jealous anymore. Apparently I am. So it's
Yeah.
like, but I think I'm also just trying to find that safe space where I'm like, okay, maybe someone will be willing to accept me, even though I'm
Hmm.
jealous, but like, I'll still continue to work on it. Like for me, I tell my dad all the time, I'm like, I love you so much, and I really appreciate your insight and everything you tell me. You do drop off some gems, but I'm not going to take everything you say at face
Hmm.
value, because do you have successful relationships? Oh, okay. That's why I even say, like, I used to give out dating advice all the time, but now I'm like, I gotta shut the hell up, because I'm 5 years single. What dating advice do I have to be giving to people? I can give you life advice, but like 5 years single, you don't want to hear from me. I don't know what a real relationship is supposed to look like anymore.
I think yes and no though. Like I
Okay.
think people do want to hear, like, as someone who is single and can see this relationship from a different perspective of like, I'm
Very
not in
chill.
the weeds, like I don't have to be there every day. Like here's how someone
Yes.
else would see it. And that's why I like to have conversations like just of like small things where it's like, am I tripping? Like, is this
Yeah.
because I really do like sometimes I am tripping. Like, I did grow up as an only child, and like, I don't really have those dynamics of like necessarily problem solving on the spot.
Yes.
It's like, oh, we're mad at each other, like, we're beefing forever. Like,
Yeah.
that's just how it feels. Like, I don't feel like we're
That's
gonna recover.
That's that Leo shit too, by the way, because my sister's a Leo, and she is like, I'm like, girl, I'm your sister. You can't not talk to me forever. And she's like, I was prepared to, like,
Right.
after one fight. So I really do feel you, and you're right. I think when people in relationships ask me, because my sister has been in a relationship for almost 8 years now, and I'm always like her sounding board, for anything that they go through, and that I don't mind, because you're right. I do see them, from the outside looking in, especially because I live with them. But I
Mm-hmm.
think it's when we get a little bit lost when single women are telling single women how to date. And I think that's when that like disconnect happens, because it's just like, I really can't go online and tell single women how to pick up men and how to be in a relationship with a man. When
Mm-hmm.
at this point, I don't even know. It's not even the same men that were out there 5 years ago. I don't know who these people are.
And the thing is, you could, but it's like preying on people's insecurities, which I feel like ties
Yes.
back into this whole theme of the episode, where it's like
Yes.
people know those pinpoints where it's like they're selling you a dream. They're not really
Yes.
this person. They're not living their life out this way, but
Yeah.
you gonna believe them because it's on the internet.
110%.
Well, thank you so much for coming on Let's Have Breakfast. We had a time,
No,
girl. It's always
seriously.
great to catch up with you and have breakfast, I guess. Metaphorically, we
Yes.
online, but
Yes. I loved it so much. Thank you for having me.
yeah. Tell the people where they can find you on social media so they can get more of
Absolutely.
you.
Absolutely. Well, as I mentioned before, you can find me on the Taboo Podcast, TABOO podcast on all platforms. But personally, you can find me on Instagram at Liana Dominique or on TikTok at tweeda.lady. And I don't know why I still have that name, but it's a part of me now. So you got to find it.
All right.